Hey y'all, it's a new edition of Steph and Cat Talk Wow, where we talk about all the goings on of WoW superheroes. We, of course, have championship action in the tag team division, and we're still reeling from the turn of top tier onto Team Spirit. Of course, this is Steph and Cat Talk Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Making her way to the mic. They start dimming the lights. You start feeling alright. From Birmingham, home of the Teddy Longs and the Ruben Studders. More once you discover. For all of the lovers, Whitney Houston and Roman Reigns. For all of the lovers, and Mickey James and Marvin Gaye. For all of the lovers, and Sasha Banks, Janelle Monáe, Silk, Sonic, and Paige. Allow me to say, look, I just found a place, sweet escape. Every one of us, I was kinda late, so I just made it up the struggle bus. Walking by the fate, cause I know it's right in front of us. Yo, I ain't with the hate, gotta focus on what's great. Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey y'all, welcome to a new power packed episode of Steph and Cat Talk Wow, brought to you by the Hardy Wrestling Podcast and In Cat We Trust. Of course, I'm your girl, Stephanie Hardy, host and creator of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast, contributing writer for Fansided's Daily DDT, and color commentator. Book your girl, book your girl, book your girl. But of course, I am not alone. I am here with my tag team partner, the creator of In Cat We Trust, contributing writer for Daily DDT and in other platforms as well. She is an author. She is a super mom. She is the creator of the Women of Color in Wrestling panel. She is dressed in red and black like Harley Quinn, looking adorable as ever. She is Katrina Blake. How are you, Kat?
Oh, it's such a awesome intro. I am okay, tired, but I'm okay. It is WrestleMania weekend, and so I'm excited and hoping that I will be happy by Sunday in regards to how things are supposed to go. But I am fine. And as far as wow, it's super awesome stuff happening. I am still sad, a little bit sad, with some things that has occurred in the last 2 weeks, but happy to talk about it. Looking for for us to discuss it.
Yes, it is WrestleMania weekend, and Eric in the comments always posted up ready before we even go live. Thank you so much for your support, saying that he's ready for Mania weekend, and I definitely am because, of course, for those who watch the show every week, thank you guys so much for doing that. As you can see, I am not in the Hardy compound that I'm normally in. I am actually in Philadelphia. So I am here for Mania weekend, and I'm really excited to dabble in the festivities. Philadelphia is a city that I'm visiting for the very first time. So I am really excited to be here back up north and everything. So it's cool. And yeah, we're about to kick off with some things, and hopefully we'll all be happy this weekend. God knows what is going to happen because anything could happen at this point in wrestling in the Renaissance era. But we just have to wait and see and just enjoy the ride because, yo, crazy stuff is going on. But in in spite of all the craziness that's going on one side of the wrestling spectrum, we are here to talk about our favorite women from Women of Wrestling Wow superheroes. And of course, since we did not have an episode last week because of lifing, we decided to talk about the last two episodes in this one episode that we have going on. So if you stick with us, we'll get into everything. And a great announcement that I do have to give in terms of Wow news is that the co-owner of WoW and the owner of the Los Angeles Lakers, my favorite NBA basketball team, Jeannie Buss, is now officially following the Hardy Wrestling Podcast on Twitter as of today. And I am so stoked, and I just found this out a few minutes ago. And I can't believe it. So I'm really excited. And Miss Jeannie Buss, thank you for all that you do in women's wrestling and for your passion. And we hope that one day either we'll get to meet you or have you on the show or whatever capacity you choose to join us. We will try to make it happen. But thank you so much for your support. And I hope that, we continue to do you proud and do the organization proud in terms of wow. So I'm really excited about that. So, Kat, how are you feeling about the follow and the cosign from the co owner?
I think it's cool when we were in California in 2022. Had to think about that what year was for a sec.
Yeah.
In 2022, and we walked past the Staples Center. I know it's not called that anymore, but I have not let that go. And so we walked past we walked past there, and you were saying just how much it was cool to be there because you were a Lakers fan. And so I think just knowing that and knowing that at least she does know that we are doing this, it's pretty freaking awesome, you know. And before I even got into wrestling, you know, I did know who Jeannie Buss was because of people I dated who was Laker Kobe fans, and so I did know who she was. And so I think that's pretty awesome, and also like glad that she even gave us, you know, a show where we can see some women's wrestling. And this is no shade to anybody because I do think there are a few other promotions that kind of put women's wrestling on the forefront. But what I mean is like just in this capacity again with things so different with the women that's on the roster. Thank you, Jeannie. But yes, I think it's super awesome that she did that.
Yeah, it's really awesome, and we're just really appreciative for her contributions, as long as along with David McClain's, because this is his baby, and of course they're working together to bring this to on this level. So we're really grateful for the both of them for doing this and giving us something to talk about every week. So yes, we love it. So of course on this episode of Wow, which took place 2 weeks ago, there was a recap. This episode started with a recap of Team Spirit being broken up and disbanded, and the formation of Top Tier by Coach Campanelli, who of course created that faction with Gloria Glitter and Kandi Crush, or Crush, which is how she wants to be known now. And in this episode, it started with Top Tier coming out and addressing the WoW universe and just telling everybody why they did what they did. And there was a new WoW Trios trophy because, of course, in the last episode, Coach tore up the original Trios trophy when she attacked Ariel Sky with it and bashed her in the head. So they came out there with a new trophy, new track suits, and everything, looking fresh, I might add. Now, we might not necessarily co sign their actions, but their fashion has been on point, and I really appreciate that. Like, I like it. It's coordinated. It's cute. I love it. So Coach Campanelli grabbed the microphone and said, "Well, well, well, I think you guys might be wanting an explanation. Well, I'll give you one. I felt like the flippy flying wrestlers of Team Spirit were a B team. So I dropped the cheerleaders and the gymnasts for some other talent that I scouted, like Crush and her 10-week winning streak and Glitter's superior cardio and determination. And thus you have me and my A team." And Crush grabbed the mic and said, "That's right. I climbed my way through the ranks by myself while having all of my friends back. And who had my back? Nobody. Until Coach came and reminded me that I am a prize fighter. So I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to win with Top Tier and go straight to the top. Let's go." And then Gloria chimed in with her 2 cents and said, "I came to WoW with one goal in mind, and that was to stair step my way to the top. And what better way to do it than with the brains and brawn here at WoW? We're Top Tier, and you can't sweat with us," which is really cute. And then Coach said, "So here we are with our brand new trophy, the greatest team in all of professional wrestling, Top Tier." And then she kissed the trophy afterward. So, Katrina, how did you feel about what all these ladies had to say as their reasoning for creating Top Tier and leaving behind Team Spirit and even just calling them a B team? Like, that's really harsh.
I think my issue first with Coach is like, girl, did you not bring in Ariel Sky? I thought that was you. And so me being the petty person that I could be, I would have just asked, well, didn't you meet? Let's take out the other girls for a second. Ariel Sky was before these other girls, and you recruited her. So wouldn't that mean you made then a B team choice? Isn't that your everybody? You know, Coach has this whole everything she does is correct, do it Coach's way. Well, Ariel in particular was your way. You actually, to an extent, put her over slightly when Randy was still there. And so Coach has a pattern of getting people to help in whatever way she needs them to help, and then she kind of dismisses them to the side. And she did that when Randy was still there. where Randy was trying, and then she kind of was like, Ariel Sky was the new toy for her, and the new person she can mold into a way she wanted them to be. And so now that Ariel Sky, Randy's gone, Ariel Sky's there, and now she was trying to contribute to a team that was trying to win, and your response is, oh well, this is like, but girl, I'm sorry, like this was your choice originally. So wouldn't that mean you started off making the B team? You started that. And to say Flippy, like sometimes while that is fine to not, to have other type of wrestlers on your squad, I also think having somebody a high flyer can always come. That's as a person who's a big, huge Hardy Boy fan. Um, Sometimes you need the person who can be a bit quicker. Somebody who can those sometimes are good assets in my opinion. And so I'm like, girl, stop. As far as Kandi, excuse me, my bad, Krush. Um, I've said already before, I wasn't really particularly happy with what the way it played out. I feel like, yes, I can totally understand feeling away about a friend not being there for you. I've been there. I feel like we all have had that time with a friend's like not the way you want them to be. And that's fine. But there are so many ways to go about doing things, I feel. And that wasn't the way to do it. Especially when Coach kind of like did all this extra in that tournament anyway, and then put you guys in there. And then you guys, I feel like, Gloria Glitter and Krush, you guys know what hard work is. So you guys came in last match and win, and I'm supposed to take y'all seriously? No, I don't take it seriously in that regard because you wasn't even part of the tournament as a team until the very last match to the finals. It's kind of like just throw. That's for me. I'm like, I'm gonna have to side eye the whole hard work part, and this is not to negate anything Krush did when she was undefeated. But if you not want to use a 10 week, that's like, why didn't you go for Adriana? She's a higher, longer streak. Again, coach. Okay, like coach, she has the longer streak here now. Officially the only undefeated person as of still on this season of WoW, and you didn't go for her. So I feel like clearly once again there's a decision make that she didn't make necessarily the best decision necessarily if we're using these reasonings for it. As for Gloria Gita, she felt like she was kind of in the middle anyway. With some matches she seemed like it might have been a bit heelish, and then some matches it was just pretty like this is what it is. And so I feel like if anybody was probably the least amount of annoying for this type of reasoning, she was probably the least one. And because she literally had no with anybody, there was no loyalty, there was no tie to anybody. She was just doing matches. And so for me, her reason really didn't bother me. But the other two, I was like, I don't know, girls. But yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot that they had to say. And it was kind of heartbreaking in the sense that Coach was sort of like treating them like she was just discarding them like trash, as opposed to them being actual people that she probably built a bond with. And to think all of this happened just because Ariel Sky was just trying to help, and bring in somebody so she could actually, focus on the coaching component, but she didn't like that, and it's just, and because of that she lashed out the way she did and called them B+ players, and I was just like, how dare you call them that when they literally led the entire team to go towards the finals the way that they did, only for you to bench them because of some crazy revenge story. Like, it was just really insane for me to hear her talk about them in that way, as if they didn't have this journey together, even though Sasha's sparks came on a little bit later. It's just the fact that they were a team, and you just, discarded them as if they were nothing. And then you try to talk down on them and call them like flippy wrestlers. And that's a narrative that I hate in wrestling sometimes, where people will say, well, I don't like the flippy stuff or whatever. And I feel like just because you do acrobatics doesn't make you any less of a wrestler. I feel like if anything, it takes a lot of skill to, to apply that level of agility, while also, learning the art of wrestling and the craft of wrestling as well, and making it into something unique for yourself, because every athlete is not the same and every athlete does not have the same strength. So I feel like it's kind of sad whenever I hear people sort of discount the flippy stuff as if, it's not real wrestling. I'm like, no, it is real wrestling. I just feel like it's something extra to sort of make you look. And yeah, it's something really cool to do that and have that level of conditioning to do both of those things. I think it's amazing. So to undercut them in that way was just really rude. And as far as what Crush had to say, I just feel like here again, this is just her lashing out because she's still angry at Princess Aussie. That's really what all of this is. She's angry at Princess Aussie. She's angry at the idea that she lost her undefeated streak and then Princess tried to help her out, but then at some point they didn't have any time for each other because Princess was the champion. Now she's not the champion, and all of the above. And Crush feels like she has something more to prove now that she's hooked up with these girls. And even Katrina, when you had something to say about it on past episodes, Crush has made it her business to, talk to you and make it seem like, no, well, actually, here's the reason why I would do it. And she's even mentioned that she would want to come back on the show and talk about it because she just didn't necessarily like what you had to say, Kat. And I was just like, well, the space is open. All we have is time and opportunity. If you want to come back on here and speak your piece, then feel free. But yeah, like it's really insane stuff. And Gloria Glitter, I think she's still sort of just trying to find a level of belonging in her case because she's still relatively new, but she's still a really great wrestler. But I feel like, in the coming episode that we're going to talk about later, we're going to see how their skills have sharpened since they've aligned with each other. So yeah, it's just really crazy to hear them running them down like that and just calling them a B team or whatnot. But this is where we're at in top tier world. So after that promo, we had our first match in this episode, which was Katarina Jinx versus Princess Aussie, which was a match that surprised me when they first announced it, but I was really intrigued and excited about it because anytime Princess Aussie is on my screen, I'm crunk and I'm just like, yes, girl, let's fight. And then before the match even got started, we have to talk about Princess Aussie's new look. Um, her hair is, of course, still the red, but it's more of a darkened red. And her outfit, of course, still has sort of like the greenish, sort of scaly look that it had in the beginning when we first started our journey with WoW. But then she has like a sleeve and another, form of wings that she comes out with. And when I tell you, I was absolutely gagged with that and her darker makeup. I was just like, oh my God. I always thought Princess Aussie was beautiful, but this new look of hers just makes it pop out a whole lot more. And I was like, yes, ma'am, slay us. Slay us with your threads, with your gear, with the fashion, the makeup. Give it to us. Give it to us. And I just love how it's the middle of season 2, but they're still popping off with these new looks. I'm just really happy about it. And we'll get more into that a little bit later. But this match was really, really good. Princess Aussie, sort of started the match with a lockup, with the side headlock, and then of course Katarina battled back with the exact same thing. Um, Katarina was using her legs a lot in this match to sort of get the upper hand and try to choke out Princess Aussie a lot. And as you can see in that picture, she even tried to hit a DDT to Princess Aussie with her legs. And she is just intriguing to watch because she loves to use her lower body, to sort of get her opponents down and, grind them down as opposed to using a lot of her upper body. And I love that form of flexibility. She's leaning into her cat like reflexes. And then she loves to get in her partner, well, not her partners. She loves to get in her opponent's head by scratching them in their back with that cat scratch. And it's just like, oh my God, ouch, don't do that. Um, but Princess Aussie proceeded to fight back, as you can see, with the cutter from down under, even though they've called it something different now. And then Aussie gave a series of clotheslines, and then she hit a dragon suplex. And then she wound up winning with her cutter and the Aussie splash for the 1, 2, 3. And this match was very athletic and really good. I loved it. I loved seeing Kat um Katarina sort of adapt to someone like Princess Aussie, but Princess is just, an all around amazing athlete. She just has it to me. And I just feel like I just can't wait to see more of what she has in store for us. So she won that match. But after she won the match, she decides that she wants to say something and cut a promo. And before she even got all the words out, she gets attacked by Reina Del Rey with a chair from behind. And it was crazy. And she just keeps hitting her and wailing on her with the chair and choking her out with the chair. And then she grabs the microphone and said, look, I was just trying to clear a path and you were in the way. And this freaked me out. But the craziest part about this is when Nigel Zane went to get answers behind the scenes, because they showed this on their social media at Wild Superheroes, She didn't want to give any answers, but she was back there in that locker room with Adriana Gambino looking like she had a plan and a suitcase full of money. So I'm very intrigued as to what this could mean and what way she's trying to clear for Adriana Gambino. Like, I'm almost pretty worried at this point. But Kat, how did you feel about the match and what happened afterward and the development of Reina and Adriana possibly working together?
Yeah, I thought the match was good. I thought, Princess Aussie is always it's always nice to see her wrestle because she really just puts a lot into her matches. But Katarina, um thanks for the follow recently, by the way. She I do like her style as well in regards to always when people choose to use other parts of their bodies, how well they can pull that off. And I think she does pull it off well. And why in this regard Princess Aussie did win, I this is like no discredit to her because she really was using what she can to try to get the win. And I thought that it's something that's like it's nice to see. And I'm looking forward to see what we're gonna even gonna get for her going forward, Katarina, because I feel like, she seems to try to figure out and then she always comes back a little bit better the next week. And I something I've noticed. And so I think that's like I thought perfect person to like if you gain something from it would been Princess Aussie. But, with the end, I mean I was surprised, honestly, that, you know, Rena like did it in that regard, saying like he was just in the way because was she? I feel like I don't know. In a way, it made me feel like we kind of know the situation happening with the title. We were wondering what was Adriana going to do because she technically is now the only undefeated person right now on the roster. Um, but Princess Aussie is not the person in the way at the moment, and so that makes sense to me. And so when that was said, and like it's one thing if like Princess Aussie had a title shot coming up and she wanted to talk about that, and then, okay, I'm removing you out of my path or out of the path where I'm helping a person or I'm getting paid to do it, whatever it is. But Princess Aussie's not even she's not even there right now. She kind of, with everything happening, she's not really dealing in at the moment with the title situation. There's still the whole drama with that with the beast. So you pick the one person who might not have aggressively responded in that moment. And this is not even, you just know the beast. You have to really come with the beast. And that's why I said that. I'm like, no, let's not BS now. Because if you was supposedly making a path, how is she the one that you go for? If you're trying to make a path for Adriana when Princess Aussie's not even necessarily there in the capacity, meaning that, oh, she's getting a title shot in the next week or two. Like that's something that I'm like, all right, but that's not what happened. And so I'm like, I don't know. I felt like you picked somebody who you thought would be an easy person to beat up unsuspectingly. I thought that's what it was. She wasn't expecting that to happen. She's about to have whatever she needed to say. And it could have been about what Krush had to say, to be fair, because that happened before that. But we won't know because Rena felt the need to do that. And I'm guessing for Adriana, but like, girl, how is this the person supposedly in your way? This like this to me, I'm like, no, this kind of gave me off like you thought you can go through somebody who would be easy. And so you did Princess Aussie. And I think that's what it was. But didn't particularly like it, but I guess we'll see what happens, going forward in regards to like the next few weeks of how this is gonna continue to keep playing out.
Actually, you made the point of, how Princess Aussie could have been in the way because she hasn't directly been going after the title the way the Beast has. But then when you think about, everybody who was in that last championship challenge match, that the Beast almost won, but then Abilene snaked in and won the title in. It's like Princess Aussie was in that match, and then she was, sort of actively trying to get her way back there. And maybe even though she hasn't said it outright, or maybe she was about to say it and then she got interrupted by Raina, she might have been, on the cusp of even trying to sort of get back on that track. And because she was the last champion and the last person who wanted to sort of go for the title who could have been in there. Maybe that's why Raina and maybe Adriana might have sent her to come attack her. Or maybe this is just a big drawn out plan where Raina's gonna attack everybody else who was in that match so Adriana could clear that path and there won't be anybody left for her to have to go through so she can finally challenge oh my gosh, what is the champion? Oh my gosh,
I
I'm
believe.
blanking. Aveline Maverick. I'm sorry. It's like there's Adriana, there's Aveline, there's all the A names, and it's just freaking me out. But either way, like maybe that's what the grand plan is, like to attack everybody who was in that championship challenge match, so her path will be clear, so she could challenge Aveline and then take the title from her. Maybe that's the plan, because that would be some really dastardly stuff. But it might seem kind of weird, at first, at face value. But when it first happened, I was like, whoa, that's crazy. But then when I thought about it and then I saw Adriana back there, I was like, oh, okay. But I'm pretty sure they'll get more into it on screen later. So after that happened, Miami Sweet Heat was prepping up for their match and they were talking trash at Fury and well, not Fury and Razor, I'm sorry, at Fury and Rebel Haze, who are the new heavy metal sisters. And they were talking about, how they're basically going to be a one hit wonder and how, they're going to see the best hit going today, which is them as tag team champions. And of course, they're further talking about how they want to be back in the title picture, which is of course their entire personality at this point. But moving forward, this led them into their match, which they titled as Easy Money, which was Miami Sweet Heat versus the new Heavy Metal Sisters Fury and Rebel Haze. And this match was really good in the sense that I love how the Carlson twins just thought they were just going to run through Rebel and Fury, but they proceeded to show that they really do have amazing chemistry as a tag team. Like this match was definitely sort of a back and forth affair where I really felt like the Heavy Metal Sisters could have won. Like they were really impressive with their double suplexes and with them sort of isolating um each twin from each other when they were in the match with either one of them. Like they were hitting fast tags, they were ducking a lot of the attacks from the Carlson twins. They were just really good. And I was just like, you know what? I would not mind if they won this match and actually beat them because with the quest for gold that Fury said that she wanted, to go on, if she won the tag titles or if she placed herself in opportunity to win the tag titles, I wouldn't have been mad about that either because her and Rebel worked so well together in this match and it would have been cool for them. But sadly, it was not to be. And Laurie, who just loves to be the flying twin, was able to hit the fab jab onto Rebel, and that was the end of the match. And Miami Sweet Heat won. And afterwards, Lana Star and the twins cut a promo saying, "Let's give it up for the most decorated tag team in the history of WoW, Miami Sweet Heat. David, you're the CEO and president, right? I know you don't like us personally, but you cannot deny that we are three-time champions and we deserve a rematch with the truckers. All these people bought tickets to see us." And Lindsey said, "It's like I told David before. We make this company the most money, and y'all might have thought we lost some of our shine and glitter, but we haven't. We're still styling and profiling, and we're coming for our WoW Tag Team Championships." So, yeah, there's that. So, Katrina, how did you feel about this tag team match and the chemistry of the new Heavy Metal Sisters? And how do you feel about Miami Sweet Heat's constant thirst for gold?
I thought the match was really good. I was actually really impressed with Rebel and Fury working together. I think this is good. In regard to them teaming up together, tagging together. I think this is going to be a good thing for Fury. And I know it might not seem because the like having that and then losing. With that being said, though, Miami Sweet Heat are three-time tag champions, and you can't. And while we do know that there have been a lot of shenanigans while they have been champions, we can also not fault the fact that they had to do enough and in some regard to kind of be a champion 3 times. And so you can't necessarily like, you can discredit some of it, yes, because a lot of it was with some shenanigans. But then the other half was clearly there had to be some kind of good enough to have been a champion 3 times. But with that being said, this whole people bought tickets to see y'all. I just need y'all to stop these shenanigans, like the delusion that everybody was just there for y'all. Like, there's not all these other awesome women on the roster, but y'all are the reason that they're coming, and then they want to see you as champions. Says who? I just want to know where that information came from. Like, who did they get that scoop from, implying that they need to get back to gold because people want to see that? Like, no, personally, I did say before, as much as I love even the Tongas, like I would have been perfectly fine with them just putting some more just to kind of see other people kind of get some shine in regards to that, just to see that. So I don't know about all that, girlies, but I guess we'll see if what's gonna happen with them too, as far as if we're going to see another rematch with them and the Mother Truckers, because those are the current tag champions. But otherwise, the match was a really solid match. I liked it.
Yeah, I feel like it was definitely a solid match, but I am just at this point, I just really want Miami Sweet Heat to stop thinking they're just obligated to just getting these rematches all the time. I mean, yeah, it's like after you guys lose your tag titles, it is a good look that you guys are winning matches. I mean, that's cool and that is to be commended. But at the same time, you are not obligated to always get these rematches for the tag titles every time you lose and then just so happen to win one match. Like, work your way up. These ladies do not believe in that. And it's just like, ma'ams, everything is not about you. And WoW is not meant to just be your stage. Like, this is where all of these women are highlighted, and so many people come to see a lot of these women and not just the Fab Four. So for them to think that everything has to be about them and the tag division has to be all about them, it's mind numbing to me. And I'm just like, why can't y'all just work your way up like everybody else has to work their way up? It's just not fair. Like, they just feel like they deserve special treatment, and that just irritates me. So I feel like they should chill, to be quite honest. And I feel like I appreciate the fact that the Mother Truckers at this point are fighting tag team champions. I appreciate that from them, but at the same time, like, I want to see them fight other people. Um, and not see them immediately go and fight Miami Sweet Heat at this point. So I think they should chill. But I also think that the Heavy Metal Sisters in this iteration of it really might have lightning in a bottle here, because they really were fantastic. Like, they were really good together. So I can't wait to see more of what Fury and Rebel Haze have to offer as a tag team. But of course, Miami Sweet Heat got the win there. So this leads us to match number three, which was Tormenta, who was being accompanied by the world's greatest attorney, Sophia Lopez, versus Tiki Chamorro. Now, this surprised me, but then it didn't surprise me in the sense that, of course, Tiki is in this match, and they showed the recap of her interfering and stopping Sophia Lopez from helping Las Banditas cheat against the Tonga twins. She pulled her down off the apron and told her to leave them alone, and that's what happened with that. And Sophia Lopez did not like it, so that's why Tiki and Tormenta were in this match at this point. And Sophia Lopez cut a promo saying, "Before this fight, I need to have some words with my client. So Tormenta, you are to destroy Tiki Chamorro because she dared to put her hands on me, the greatest attorney in the world. So tonight you're going to teach her a lesson, and the lesson is to not mess with Sophia Lopez." So Tormenta had her marching orders from Sophia, but Tiki heard, "Look, I'm going to change lives and I'm going to show that I can pretty much battle with this highly accomplished woman from all over the world." And Tiki did just that. She did just that. Now, Tiki, of course, there were a couple of moments where it did look like, she was getting attacked. Like, she got attacked as soon as the bell rang. Tormenta came in hot, ready to beat her up, right? But, like, Tiki fought back with a series of forearms and axe handles. And I was just like, okay, girl, I see you in the lab working. But Tiki, did climb the top rope, and she hit a crossbody splash to Tormenta for a 2 count. And Tormenta even tried to submit her out, as in this picture right here with her arms. But Tiki didn't give up. And usually that's where a lot of people would like try and tap out or something like that. But Tiki stayed in there. with Tormenta. And then Sophia actually tried to interfere on Tormenta's behalf by grabbing her hair onto the ropes, but then Eddie saw it. The referee Eddie Furt saw it and told her to back off and everything. Didn't send her away though, but just told her to back off. And Tiki finally hit her 671 kick. Because of course it reminds you of 619, but it's not that. She hit that Tiger Fate kick. And then she went for a splash, but then Tormenta moved out of the way. And then Tormenta hit a clothesline, but then Tiki actually kicked out of that. And that was where Tormenta's, I guess, confidence sort of got a little bit shaken because she thought maybe that would have been it, but it wasn't. And then Tormenta tried to go for a splash and then tried to go for double knees, but then she moved out of the way. And she rolled her up for a 3 count. So Tiki Chamorro made had an amazing victory, which you could say is a little bit of a shock, but then really just a great victory against Tormenta. So big ups to Tiki. Like she definitely stepped up to the occasion and beat Tormenta, who was trying to come in with all that hubris. So, Katrina, how did you feel about this match?
I thought it was a good match. Like, the fact that, I guess Tormenta thought it was going to be easy. And to be fair, and this is no shade to Tiki, but like, she's one of the tinier women on the roster. She's also one of the nicest, maybe one of the quietest ones. And so, you're quiet and you're tiny, and people think, oh, this is going to be a piece of cake. And so I'm glad that she, even knowing that Tormenta, had some accolades. Samantha's a accomplished wrestler, and she went in there as like, I'm just not gonna give up, and it made me appreciate her so much more. And she's a sweetheart, but like it made me like, that's right, girly. Like you let them know, and I liked that even with her win, it was like it was a quick. I'm not and not always a fan of those type of pins, but in this regard, you gotta be smart. Sometimes it's like it's okay. Sometimes you feel like this is the way to do it. Do it. And I think this was perfect in showing that not only is she getting more confident in herself, but also using more of that mind, brains in when she's wrestling, which is always a good thing. I think that's a perfect way to show that you're growing as a wrestler. And I think, you know, she's really been coming into that in the last few matches she's had, where she's being a lot more confident in herself and her ability. And this just proved that you took on tournaments and you won, even after all that stuff that Sophia Lopez had to say, even with Tormenta kind of starting the match the way she did. And you still beat her. And I think that's, kudos to Tiki. I'm really excited to see, this newfound level of confidence and this attitude, not like a bad attitude, but like an attitude like believing more in herself. I can't wait to see what we're going to get from her in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I can't wait either. Like, it's just really cool to see her, stepping up to the plate and just, showing these girls that just because she's nice and she's tiny does not mean that they can just run all over her. Like, she is a tough woman, and it is really good to see her, standing in her power in this way. Like, I'm really happy to see that. And then on top of that, you have the sis because she's standing in her power. It's also strengthening her sisterhood with the Tonga twins because afterward, I forgot to mention, Las Banditas actually attacked Tiki afterward along with Tormenta. And then Chaos and Kona came to the rescue and actually came to even the odds. And Las Banditas and Tormenta wound up running away. So, in that aspect, you have Tiki and her sisterhood with Kona and Chaos getting stronger because they're there for each other. And because Tiki showed up for them, a few weeks ago, they showed up for her. And it's really cool to see that on display that the Island Dynasty, or at least another Island Dynasty, is actually united and not being dysfunctional. So, and yes, that was shade. I don't care. Um, but either way, that's what happened there. Tiki Chamorro had her victory, and it's really good to see her and the Island Dynasty standing strong. And so after that, they showed a recap of Team Spirit being broken up by Coach Campanelli and Top Tier. And then we got a really heartfelt promo from Ariel Sky. She said, and she was directing it towards Coach Campanelli. She said, Coach, when I got into wrestling, I was told that I would face hardships. I would suffer injuries, broken bones. But you know what? That night, it was unlike anything else. You broke my spirit. You know, since I got here at WOW, I really looked up to you as a mentor, as a coach, and a friend. I really wanted to make you proud. I told David that no one thought that I would ever amount to anything. I never thought I would be here, and when I came here, I wanted to make you proud. And through all of the changes, when Randy Rara was out handling her business and all the new members of Team Spirit was here, who was there along your side? Me. This isn't about top tier or team spirit anymore. This is about you and me, coach. And this is personal. And she took a picture that they took together and ripped it in half. So, Katrina, how did you feel about Ariel Sky's feelings and what she had to say in response to the attack of top tier and Coach Campanelli?
I thought she said it a lot nicer than I would have said it, but she was right. Like, you know, again, as I said a little earlier, you know, you picked Ariel, coach. That was your pick. You picked her. And to easily just throw her off to the side as if she didn't matter, it was like, I'm kind of looking at you a bit sideways. I actually think Krush and Gloria might need to keep that in mind for themselves as well. It does seem that she's coach. If she feels whatever works better, she will throw somebody to the side quickly, and that's something that they might need to keep in mind. They think everything feels sweet right now because they're the trios. You know, they won the tournament. Everything feels sweet, but you gotta keep that in mind. A person who can do that to somebody who's helped them in other situations means what would they do to you, no matter how talented you may be in the ring. And so Ariel, you know, being again saying her spirit was broken, it's probably because she trusted Coach. You know, Coach came in talking a good game and talking about how her choice is a good choice and she knows what she's talking about. And as soon as things didn't go directly in the way she felt it is, she felt let's be ridiculous and petty. And I believe it was pettiness involved with her acting like all of a sudden the other girls didn't matter at all. Even if she didn't pick them, your job as a coach, a good coach, would be like, well, this is my team. And what can I do with my team to get the results I want? That's what a good coach would do. And she didn't do that. Instead, because she was mad that Ariel had a choice and it wasn't just all up to her, even though, as if you think of even like cheerleading teams, when you have auditions or something, there's other people there. There's multiple people making the choice, making a decision. It's not just one person. So you would think coach would know these kind of things. You're supposed to be in the athletics, and you're supposed to know how coaching. And while yes, they have a good say so, they don't have all the say so. And so, you know, I understand how Ariel felt the way she did. I can understand why Ariel felt that, you know, she needed to let her know. And I am glad that she said something. Again, she said it a lot nicer than I would have said it, but I felt everything she said was 100% correct.
Yes, I believe the general consensus is that a lot of people say things a lot nicer than you because you're very blunt and you just like to just say how you feel just outright. And yeah, like Ariel, I feel like she was speaking from a place of pain and hurt because that really was her friend. And even when, like she said, when all the changes were taking place, like she stood 10 toes down for Coach. Like she was there for her in that sense. And to have someone like that you were so loyal to not be loyal to you is just really heartbreaking and it's terrible. And now I feel that I understand where Ariel is coming from. She really just wants to get even and probably just want to just get back at her and let her know like we are not B plus players and we are not who you tried to play us off to be. So I, can't wait to see what else unfolds with this. But I do know that Ariel really does feel a lot of sadness and pain from what is going on. And she was probably just reeling from it just happening. But either way, like her feelings were 100% valid. And yeah, it's all gloves off now. Like it's really all gloves off now because Coach really did do that to her and broke her heart in that way. So yeah, it's time to fight. It's really time to fight now. So, yeah, that friendship is over. It's done. Time to throw it in the trash. So, after that promo, we moved into our main event, which was Penelope Pink, of course, being accompanied by Lana Star, with and also Vicky Lynn McCoy going up against G.I. Jane. This really excited me because, of course, I love G.I. Jane. That's my girl. And of course, we support Black women in wrestling. So we love her. And then just the idea of her going up against someone who is a former Wild World champion is just really amazing stuff. I believe this is G.I. Jane's first time in the main event, so I just as a solo star, so this was really cool for me, and I was just like, yes, girl, we are up in high cotton now. This is great. But I felt strange because Vicky Lynn was there and because Lana was there, and I was just like, oh no. So this match was really great though, in the sense that even though you have Penelope Pink being, as great as an athlete as she is, here you had G.I. Jane sort of matching wits with her in terms of power. And she is another person who rose to the occasion of going up against someone who has more experience in wrestling, over her, but she was still, doing the dang thing against her. Like there were times where Penelope would try to set up for a number of moves, like she would try to set up for a suplex, and Jane would just thrust her off or, push her away with her arms or whatever. And there was one time where Penelope Bing actually slammed her down and then stepped on her back and mocked a salute. And I was just like, you do not mock a salute to someone who's been in the military. Like, that's trash. Like, I don't care who you are or who you think you are in terms of, your level of importance. You do not mock those who've been in the military. You do not know. You just don't do that. So, G.I. Jane actually, rolled her up and actually slammed her down and gave and did some push ups on her back for equal measure. And I was like, yes, do that. And then, of course, there were a couple of times where Penelope Pink had to run away from G.I. Jane in order to get some space. But then there was one time where Jane was running after her and Lana wound up tripping her up on the apron. And I was just like, oh my God, Lana, stay out of these people's business. Like, get out. And then you had Penelope choking her out on the ropes and everything, just being cocky. And just when it looked like GI Jane was firing back with a chop and all the push-ups and everything, she wound up not getting the upper hand over Penelope Pink by, hold on guys, I have like a lot of notes. Um she wound up not getting the upper hand as Penelope Pink hit her bend and snap DDT, and she got the 3 count. So Penelope Pink won the match, but I still feel like it was a great showing on the part of G.I. Jane. And afterward, Lana Starr cut a promo basically talking about how it's her goal for all of the Fab Four to gain all of their gold back and to put it back on her mantle so they can have, Fab Four supremacy. And that was how that episode of WoW ended. So there was that. So, Katrina, how did you feel about G.I. Jane's performance against Penelope Pink and what Lana Starr had to say afterward?
I think I was really happy with GI Jane. We love her, and I'm always for a girly doing what needs to be done. And I thought she, considering, you know, what she left and kind of had to do a little bit of that adversity with leaving that team. And so she did that, and then she go and get somebody who was a champion for an extended period of time, and I know while you had your beef with Penelope can wrestle. She most certainly can. And so while I do agree that there was definitely a level of disrespect with regard to her doing the military, doing that on her, this falls in line of what Penelope is kind of known to do sometimes, just being a bit disrespectful, a bit rude, if you will. And so even with, Penelope did win, I think GI Jane definitely should be very proud of what she was able to do. She hung in there. She really did. And it's very possible, not only could she make another main event, but even make her way to a title shot at some point. And I think that this was one of the first steps of doing that. And so super great stuff in that. With regard to Lana, I was not surprised that she said that. It kind of went off the fact of what the twins said earlier with regards to feeling like they felt that people were there for them. And so Lana now saying like, well, my older member, she was a champion before. Let's also bring her back and get some gold, and we can go back to how everything was before. The thing is, that's not always how it goes. Sometimes things got to change, and sometimes things work the way they work. And it's always weird that it seems like Vicky is never included in any of this information when they say these things. I'm like, well, Vicky is part of your squad, right? Um, and so that's always to me. I'm just like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I should not even mention that she is there. But either way, I wasn't surprised for her saying that. This falls in line of what the Fab Four is. It's about what works for them, what can keep them at the top, what can make them feel like they're better than the rest of the roster. So I was truly not surprised about her, anything she said in that regard.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised at that either. But in terms of G.I. Jane, like she was somebody who I always felt like could be a star in WoW from the beginning. Not even just because of, her athleticism or even just because of her looks, but just, she just has that aura about her where if you saw her holding the WoW World title, you would definitely believe that she would be a representative of a brand like that because she just has the aura of a champion. And the fact that she's made it there after, breaking free from Team IQ Superior, it's just a testament to her hard work. And it's just, even though we might not see her, as consistently as we see the other girls, it's just like when she's up there, you just can't deny that she just has the aura of what a WoW superhero is supposed to be. And I want her to go for the WoW World title so, so bad. Like, y'all don't understand. Like, if she went for that title, like, and had to fight anybody for that title, and if she actually won, I would probably just scream and just pass out. Like, I would just be so happy for her because she just has it to me. Like, she just does. And if she ever made it to the main event again, I wouldn't be surprised at all. So, I like big ups to G.I. Jane for stepping up to Penelope Pink the way that she did, even though Penelope wound up having some help. It's still the fact that you did it, and that's all that matters there. And when it comes to the Fab Four, everything has to be all about them. And it's just, okay, okay, y'all. Okay, 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 y'all. Okay. And that's just kind of how I feel about it at this point. It's just like, okay. But either way, everybody is gunning for all the gold here. And that was really how that episode ended. So now we move forward to last weekend's episode, which of course did start with David McLean introducing the new team spirit, which is being led by Ariel Sky. And of course, Pep Riley and Sasha Sparks came out there with her. And on commentary, um, Nigel Zane actually fed into the fact that Ariel Sky actually is the legitimate leader of Team Spirit at this point. So Team Spirit is not dead. It's just reinvigorated into a new iteration without Coach Campanelli. And so David seemed very hyped up and really, angry like on the part of Team Spirit about what happened to them with top tier. And so Ariel Sky was just basically speaking her piece and saying how she just wanted to, make Coach proud, but how she just did not like that she underestimated Team Spirit and their abilities, and benched them. So she said, look, since you want to act like we're not, any factors or whatever, come put your trios trophy on the line and we will show you that we can, beat you for it. And then top tier comes out and then they cut their promo basically and coach basically says like, okay, if that's what you want, then I'll give you your opportunity. But just know that you can't do it. You can't win because you're just, a B player. And they got in each other's faces, and that was pretty much the end of that. So David McClain made it official that in this episode they would be main eventing for the Wow Trios trophy. So Katrina, how did you feel about this promo, and how did you feel about what Ariel and Coach had to say? And did you think it was going to blow up in the ring?
Of course I did. I definitely thought it was going to blow up because Ariel has has a good solid reason to feel the way she's feeling, and Coach I feel is a bit like delusional in regards to like she's not understanding why Ariel feels a way about this. Um, I don't know. I feel like a better way would have actually had Coach use it. She shouldn't have been able to win with the new people at the end. If you was able to just swap people, that means anybody could have just swap to the finals. And I feel like if you want to really put that to the test, have them redo it. If you feel and let him do like or you know what I mean. Like I feel like it just there were ways to kind of get around the way this played out. And so it being where, now there's a lot of animosity, and especially on Ariel's, and I can understand that. I feel like Coach has animosity, but how can you? You messed up here. This was all on a choice you made that could have been better. You could have done this a whole lot better. To wait to the last to last match of the tournament to all of a sudden pull this, like how you could have, you didn't even need to do all that. You could have just said it, and if there was beef, leading up to that, fine. But to do it in the last match after girls already worked, she lucky she didn't get flipped backstage. Personally, she lucky she didn't that didn't happen backstage. That Ariel waited to the following week and said something in the ring and didn't meet her backstage. Like I feel like Coach got off a little bit easy here, and so I was not surprised at all. And I definitely understand again. While Ariel definitely has some animosity, she should.
Yeah, she really should. Like literally, like you are right about that, Katrina. Like if Coach really had beef about it, then she should have brought the ruckus. Like she should have said something to her. But she didn't. And she, went about it in an incredibly sneaky way and executed team spirit in her iteration and started top tier in that way. And it isn't fair, but I am glad that Ariel did not back down from her at all. Like she was just like, look, team spirit is still very much a thing and we can beat you. So come on. And I really appreciated that moxie from Ariel Sky and also from Pep and Sasha, standing by her in that. So of course that was going to be the main event of this episode. So there's that. So the first match actually turned out to be, I believe it turned out to be a tag team match, didn't it? Yes. Okay, so it was a tag team. Sorry, y'all. I do not have notes for this. My pen went out, so I don't have notes for it. So this tag team match turned out to be, oh my gosh, who was it? Katrina, please tell me. Help.
It was, it
There we go.
was yes, Exile, but
Mhm.
Exodus and Ice Cold
Mhm. Versus the All
versus.
American Girls. Yes, thank you so much. Like my brain just blipped. But yes, you had Exodus and Ice Cold going up against the All American Girls. And also to talk about the amazing gear that we're getting in the middle of season 2. The All American Girls have new gear and it is just absolutely colorful and cute. Like I love it. It's bright colors. Like it's just really cute and I love the purple dashed in there. Like it's just really giving. Look at us. We're a team and we are on the same page. And I just really love that for Americana after everything she's gone through. Her and Santana Garrett really have it going on here. And this match was really good in the sense that you saw a lot of the abilities that each team had. Of course, you have Ice Cold, who is definitely getting a whole lot better in ring with utilizing her acrobatics and stuff. And then, of course, you have the chemistry of the All American girls, battling back. And then you have Exodus putting a lot of her MMA background on display as well in this match, as you can see with her trying to submit Americana in that picture as well. But as it turns out, what happened, towards the end was really insane in the sense that the All American girls wound up winning, but they wound up winning due to some miscommunication on the part of Exodus with Ice Cold. Because Exodus actually, in her trying to kick one of the members of the All American girls, she wound up kicking Ice Cold. And they took advantage of that and covered her for the 1, 2, 3. And Genesis was on the apron looking mad frustrated that they lost that match in that way, but of course, that adds more to their issues that they said that they might have put to the side. But either way, those issues are now coming back now that the trios tournament is over and they lost that match to the All American girls. So we don't know what's going to happen with them at this point. But Team Exile is back on the struggle bus and the All American girls are doing great. So, Kat, how did you feel about this match and the victory of the All American girls and what's going on with Exile right now?
I thought it was a good match outside. Like I like that, even it's a weird thing because when I spoke to Genesis, one thing she did say is she prided herself in trying to make sure her team was the way it needed to be. This is leading up to the trios tournament. And so I can understand how you guys made it to the finals. And while to be fair, it was some shenanigans. And I think even as much as Exile was doing some stuff a little bit shady as well during the tournament, I kind of felt bad in regards to they didn't deserve that either last time. They worked their way to the finals for you guys to swap out members to work better in, in the favor of coach's new team. And so yeah, I can understand like having that situation happen, and then you're thinking like, well, at least if anything, my team is together. Like, and then here you guys are acting like y'all was active before the tournament finished, and it's like I can totally understand why Jensen was like, all right, girls, let's get it back together. Like, I can understand why she was a little bit upset about that because I would be like, why are we going 3 steps back after I thought we made progress here? I could totally get that. With that being said, I did like again something I said before about Ice Cold. I like how she's been able to really find her footing in Exile. She had little matches solos when she was floating between teams. We did not know what Girly was doing. We didn't know her place was, where she was, and she seems like she's gotten a lot more confident in what she can do. This go around with Exile. And so I like that, but I definitely think that being that Santana and Garrett and Americana is just, I love the gear as well. I thought it was really like cute, but like also just like how well they're also, and I respect that they did use that to their advantage. That's what a good team is supposed to do, and use miscommunication, use to advantage, and got the win. I do think they are, and I'm kind of glad they kind of moved away a little bit from the whole thing with Jesse and Amber, just because it was a lot and a lot of, and I feel like yes, let these girls thrive now that they got new gear. To, it felt like they got new gear to like the word is not coming to me right now, but to pretty much say it's a new beginning of us moving forward as a team, and it's not based off drama. Because to be fair, that's when Santana kind of came back when that stuff went down with Jesse and Americana. So I thought it was a really good open. But hopefully Exile will get off the struggle bus because I'm like, y'all was fine. Like, what happened? In this span that y'all back to acting like before this, y'all made it to the finals. Let's keep that energy around. Like, like we can't be having that happen. Like, especially because you guys are actually the only official trio there. Technically, the original group of trios that's been around. Exile was already a trios, but with Ice Cold, I mean, she's been consistently with them, and it wasn't like swapping members or changing teams. They were literally together. So you better show up. Like, y'all better show who y'all are. Like, let's get that together, guys. That's all I was wondering about that. Like, what's happening? What's the breakdown? What's going on? But otherwise, it was good open.
Yeah, it was a really great open, and I was very sort of disheartened to see Exile on the struggle bus again with that. So I'm wondering what will happen with that. But I do find that the person who was the most frustrated with that was Genesis, who and who was one of the main people talking about how she felt like the team, how she should have been at the center of everything, or she should be the leader and out front and all of the above and telling them what to do. So I'm just wondering, what this means for her, and what if this means she has to go back to the drawing board, or if she'll just flat out just give up on them and just go her own way. Like, I just wonder what's gonna happen there. So yeah, it's really frustrating to watch them, go from being unified at one point to falling apart again, and it's just like, yeah, dang, y'all just can't catch a break. It's insane. But that's where they're at, and of course the All American girls, they're doing a fantastic job as a team because of course they're on one accord. So it's just really good stuff, at that point. And you are right about um Exile being a trio. Like, they are one of the official trios of WoW before there really was a trio like tournament per se. So it's just, it's kind of heartbreaking to see them consistently falling apart like they do. But I guess we'll just have to see what happens. So before we go to the next match, we actually had a medical, well, if you could say a medical update from Abilene Maverick, the WoW World Champion. She went to the doctor. And he read a chart that said, okay, and she was just like, okay, doctor, what does the report say? And then he said, oh, you're actually cleared to compete. And then she hit him, to say, no, that's not what you're supposed to say. And then he said, oh wait, no, you're not cleared to compete. And she was like, oh darn, oh well. And then she walked away off of the doctor's table. But then on the poster, you look up and the poster was actually like for pets. So she didn't go to a real doctor. She went to a vet to like give the illusion that she went to a real doctor. So Abilene is still out here with her shenanigans, trying to get out of fighting and girl, it's not helping. So she needs to chill. But we'll get more into that a little bit later in the episode. The next match turned out to be, I believe it was the World Tag Team title match between. No, it wasn't. Okay, it was BK Rhythm. I'm on the struggle bus today. It was BK Rhythm being accompanied by Lil J Boogie and Gigi Gianni going up against Holiday, who believes violence is for everyone. She is somebody else with a new look because she has that one arm out, but then the other arm is covered with a sleeve and everything, and her face paint is looking kind of different because you're seeing more of her shades of skin mixed in with the paint. I'm just like, y'all just upping the ante with this fashion. I love it. So BK Rhythm came out with her girls, and Holiday came out on her own, and they turned the lights off for her, because she had that whole creepy vibe. And what's so funny is in BK's bars, she was telling, Holiday that basically, okay, you have like basically just dissing her. And I was just like, so you think you're just gonna get away with saying all of this stuff about her? Like, you think you're just gonna get away with that? Like she's not gonna slam you across the ring? Like you need to chill. So after that point, the match got started, and this match was really good in the sense that BK, even though she was cheating just a little bit with her friends, she didn't cheat a whole lot up against Holiday. And Holiday, of course, had her strength on display, but then BK was using a lot of her mat work in order to gain the upper hand on Holiday. And it was a really good back and forth between these two. Like I really enjoyed watching them fight each other, back and forth. And it was like there were a lot of near falls in this match where you thought maybe BK was going to upset Holiday a lot of the time, but she wound up not doing it, and Holiday wound up hitting the Darkness Falls onto her in order to win the match. Um, Even when Gigi and Lil J Boogie tried to distract Holiday and everything, it wound up not working, and Holiday wound up winning. But after she won, she wound up getting attacked by the Brat Pack, and two unexpected people came to the defense of Holiday in the form of Chantilly Chella and a newly afroed Foxy Fierce. You dig? I could not believe that. I was just like, wait, what? Like, I really could not believe that Chantilly and Foxy came out there to help her. I'm glad they did. But it was just the principle of it. You've never seen them work together before. You've only seen them work against each other. So the fact that they worked together and then they started dancing and then tried to get Holiday to do it, and Holiday was like, nah, that's not me. It was really funny. So yeah, and just in terms of fashion, I loved Foxy Fierce's afro. Like, as someone who has an afro, I really appreciate it. Look at my fro and look at Foxy's fro. It's just so beautiful. So, Katrina, how did you feel about this match with BK Rhythm and Holiday? And how did you feel about Chantilly and Foxy coming out to help her in the end?
I just first need to acknowledge or address, not even acknowledge, address BK's bars. Because, girl, now you know. Like, BK always do these shenanigans, but the one person you probably should play it off with is probably Holonet. She's probably the one person. Her her spooky vibes is for everybody. And because of that, like the violent hands are for is E for everyone. And so you would think you tread lightly in that type of situation. With that being said, yes, she was definitely semi cheating, but I also think I was like, all right, I'll give you half a point because I can't give too much, but you have a point, for you actually really trying, with Holiday in that regards of using different techniques necessarily. There were times that I'm like, oh, because then I'm like, I don't know how I would have reacted, to be fair. But Holiday coming out winning was perfectly fine in my book. I also was very, very happy to see Miss Foxy because, yes, she was already with the natural as it is, but to come with the fur, I was like, if we already said Pam, I think we've said this to her multiple times. Pam Grier just all in it vibes. And that just made, I was like, yes, Foxy just looked absolutely fantastic. And Chantilly is awesome and amazing as well. And she did look like, what's this? And I did laugh because it's like, she was looking like, whoa, 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 I don't need help. I don't need assistance. It was that kind of vibe. She's like, which, like, unhand me to an extent. Like, the way she was looking at them, like, what are you doing? And so I don't know if this is a turn for Holiday. Is she going to get less violent when you have somebody as happy as Chantilly and somebody as happy as Foxy? Does this mean, is she going to turn a new leaf and be less violent? Possibly, possibly. But she definitely looked like, what are y'all doing? It was that like, what's this? Excuse y'all. And so I thought that was fun. But it was really good to see Foxy because we were wondering where she was. Okay, we were wondering, and so the fact that she is back, I was like, yes, girly, I cannot wait to see you in action again. And maybe we would get some with them, considering they did help Holiday. Maybe it'll be some 3-on-3. Maybe it will be, a three with the Brat Pack and with them. And I wouldn't mind seeing it, especially with Holiday being so different than how cheerful Foxy and Chantilly is. But it was definitely a great match.
You had me weak when you said that Holiday was like, unhand me. That was funny. But yeah, like, oh my God. That was kind of the vibe that it gave because Holiday, she isn't, I mean, we've seen her in teams before because we saw her with Siren the Voodoo Doll. Um, and we've even seen her with Chainsaw a couple of times until, of course, they fell out and everything. But she is basically standing on her own now. So the idea of her, getting this help, from these unexpected souls that are just relatively happier and peppier is just kind of like, whoa, like it surprised her. And she probably was like, yo, what the heck is going on here? But either way, I am glad that they did help her because it's never cool when you jump somebody, who only has the strength to fight for themselves in that aspect. Like it's never cool to do that. So the fact that they came out there to help her was still, it was unexpected, but it was still really cool. And also, let me just say, watching Little J Boogie jump Holiday with Gigi and BK is still awkward for me because I still feel like she's a very happy and peppy girl herself. So I'm kind of wondering, like, how come you're not hanging out with Foxy and Chantilly, and being with them because they seem more your speed as opposed to hanging out with the Brat Pack who just seek to, be bad and, nasty all the time. So it's weird how that, dichotomy works. And she was just jumping her along with them. It's just like, girl, this isn't you. Stop it. Like, be yourself. You don't have to do that. Like, you're the one who, when they were posing for the album cover earlier in the match, you were saying, hi, like, hi, mom, or something like that. Like, you were doing that. Be that person. Don't be the girl who jumps people. Like, stop it. And also, she has new gear too, and it's cute. But yeah, like Holiday won the match, and she might have some new friends. Now, how long it'll last, we don't know, but we just gotta wait and see. So, the next match, well, actually, there was a promo that the Mother Truckers did cut. The Wild Tag Team Champions cut on their tag team opponents in the form of Animal Control. That's Goldie Collins and Katarina Jinx. And they basically said that look, they were just gonna get Pixie and Trixie together or whatever, and said that they were just gonna beat them and honk honk or whatever. So they had their match for the Wild Tag Team titles, and this match was pretty good for the most part. I was definitely surprised when they announced that Goldie Collins and Katarina Jinx were going to be a tag team for this match. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And even on commentary, they alluded the fact that usually when it comes to people who have sort of like that canine energy, they have a tendency to fight with people who have the feline energy. And I think that's interesting as a as a person who is a dog person, like I definitely get it. Like, I love dogs more than I love cats, but a certain someone is trying to turn my heart around when it comes to cats, but I don't know. I don't know. Just I'm working on it. The only cat I love is Katrina. So, so I don't know about it, but either way, Team Cat Dog, that's not their team name. Their team name is Animal Control, went up against the Mother Truckers for the Wild Tag Team titles, and they actually had pretty good chemistry, for the most part. But for them to kind of go up against, the mother daughter team of the Mother Truckers was just kind of like, okay, like what more could they possibly do to get in the head of these women? Like this part, I feel like this match was relatively dominant on the part of Big Rig Betty and Holly Swag. And even with not Katrina, I'm sorry, even with Katarina and Goldie Collins, teaming up a little bit, like you see here in this picture with that double suplex that they hit, it just felt like the Mother Truckers had their number a whole lot more. Even though there were a couple of spots where they did sort of take advantage, of Holly Swag and everything. It's like once Big Rig Betty got in there, it was kind of all over for them. So the Mother Truckers retained their WoW Tag Team Championships, and they cut a promo, talking about how they want every tag team, to come to them and fight because they're willing to fight anybody to prove that they deserve those WoW Tag Team champions, and they are really fighting champions because they've been in about three tag team matches for those titles since they won them. So it's really cool to see them fight like that and give that honk honk energy to them. So, Katrina, how did you feel about this match and the chemistry of Katarina and Goldie Collins?
I was also surprised, honestly, hearing that they would be a team because I was like, well, this is random. It's kind of random. But I thought for what it was worth, they weren't bad with regard to chemistry. I think, obviously, if they're going to really be a team, they have to probably work together a lot more, maybe practice or train a better together because they have different styles in wrestling. Both of them do. And so I feel like what Katarina uses, again, a lot of her body in ways that would might work. Goldie can, she does what she does, but she also is a bit more egotistical and to an extent where she does a lot of flaunting when she's wrestling. And that's a very different style from Katarina. And so they obviously have to find something that where they can work together, where they have better chemistry. Also, it's a not too much of a, stretch because the Mother Truckers are a family team. They are a mother and daughter, and you would hope, at least in most part, that your mom and you and your child, or you and your mom would be close enough that you guys can figure out how to work if you guys are wrestling together, how to work with each other in the ring, and that's automatically trump in that regardless. Even if they weren't family, that they did work together for some time, you would hope that the chemistry would be a little better. That's like a given. But I thought for what it was, it wasn't bad at all, and I do appreciate the Mother Truckers saying they're going to be a fighting squad. I'm like, all right, I see it, I respect it. So I think that's good stuff.
Yeah, I think that's good stuff too. And yeah, Goldie Collins is a bit of a a person who likes to flaunt a lot of herself, whereas Katarina is just a little bit more strategic with her moves and stuff like that. So that was a differing factor with that. But the moments where they did work together well, they did. But I am just here for swag towing and their supremacy. And also speaking of swag towing, how about they have a swag towing hat on Pro Wrestling Tees? Like WoW actually has a new store on Pro Wrestling Tees with updated merchandise for all the girls, and I'm really excited about it. And they have a hat that says swag towing, and I'm just like, why do I want one knowing full well that my hair is too big for hats? Um, but either way, like I just really love that these women are choosing to fight whoever comes next. And I'm really intrigued to see who's going to come next. I do want to see them fight the Tonga twins, seeing as they've never fought each other before. And if the Tongas want to go for those titles again, that'll be really cool for them to do. But either way, I'm glad that, Big Red Betty and Holly Swag have this groove going for them because they definitely deserve it. So I'm definitely here for it. So before we go into the main event, we did get a word from David McLean and the Beast. And David McLean had some really good footage to show us in this episode to clear the Beast's name of wrongdoing in that championship match where Abilene Maverick said that she hit her in the head with brass knuckles. We finally got a tape of not Katarina, Abilene pulling out the brass knuckles from her knee pad. She had the brass knuckles first. Now, how she got them on the beast, we don't know yet, but she had them. And because David McLean saw that footage, he apologized to the beast and said that in the midst of this, you will be getting your rematch for the WoW World Championship so you can win your title back and all of the above. So this is 100% official, and I'm glad that David McLean actually peeped earlier that Abilene was not at a real doctor's office. And now that he's seen this footage, it's making him, stand on business and say, "Hey, you're getting this, this match now. This is for real. You weren't the person in the wrong with the cheating. So this is really cool." So I don't know if it's happening in the next episode because they didn't say that that was happening in the next episode. But I am happy that the Beast name was at least clear because Miss Ma'am does not have to cheat. Like that's just dumb. So Katrina, how did you feel about this development in this mystery?
I was fine with his apology because about time, because he was doing shenanigans, honestly, for me. Like, to sit there and act like we all don't know how the beast get down, and not even like in a bad way, just like we all don't know that she don't need all that stuff to win. She don't need to put extra stuff. That's just off of how Abilene came in for her first match. Should have told him all he needed to know. And the second match should have told him all he needed to know. The video evidence should have just been extra, like an extra evidence. It shouldn't have been the only determining fact when you're literally looking at the actions of both how she is, but also how the Beast has conducted matches and everything else, and why she might be a little bit more, aggressive in regards to she'll probably throw somebody around the ring if necessary. She has never decided to cheat. No matter how upset she's been in situations, she might have come in afterwards or come in, but just cheat during her own matches. She haven't done that, and so I'm like, about time, because I don't know how you was just fooled in the first place. To be fair, like, and the fact that you couldn't even tell that she was at the real doctor's office, like, you should somebody should have been there with her if you knew she was known for shenanigans. And so I'm glad we're gonna finally get the rematch, and I am hoping with all the universe that the Beast wins and it can go back to the way it was supposed to go in the first place, and that before all the nonsense that happened with everything, even with the Fab Four, that she should have never lost it. It was taking even longer for her to get back there because of shenanigans. Let her get that title back, and Abilene can go do something or play with somebody else or whatever it is she wants to do on her own time, but not on the Beast time, on her own time. And so I was happy with what was said.
I was happy too, and I was happy that the Beast does get her chance, at the title. But I'm also really scared because you have Reina Del Rey who attacked, Princess Aussie, and you have Adriana Gambino who could very well have her eye on all these women who could very well take the title, you know, from her, and so she won't have such an easy time trying to win the title. So not to say that the Beast hasn't already, made Reina Del Rey, her target before and hasn't beat her before. But I do wonder, like, what type of malice does Adriana Gambino have against all these other women who have been in contention for the title before, to where she will send someone like Reina Del Rey to attack them? And would she come at the Beast in that way? That's what I wonder. Like, how in the world would that work, considering that's going on behind the scenes? Not saying that the Beast can't, hold her own. It's just the principle of there's that danger lurking around the locker room, and you just never know how it could, turn out. But either way, like, I'm definitely here for the Beast finally getting her things, and she has that chance. Oh, wow. She has that opportunity. My lights are going out. So yeah, moving forward. We did get a preview of what's going to happen in this weekend's episode of WoW, which is interesting that it's coming on this Saturday, which is also WrestleMania Saturday, but wrestling is always going on. We will get the debut of a new tag team called I forgot the name of it, but both of the tag teams, like, it's got the initials of D in them, and it has to do, I think it's Dojo Dominance or something like that. And somebody I know is in this
I
tag
think
team.
Dojo Defenders.
Yeah, Dojo Defenders. There we go. And somebody I know is in this team. It's Tootie Lynn. Tootie Lynn from St. Louis, who is someone I met years ago at NWA Empower. She is an amazing wrestler in the indies. She's known as the Little Blue Dragon. She is an accomplished martial artist, and she is a part of the Dojo Defenders. And when I saw that preview, I just gagged because I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's gonna be on TV!" like, that's my girl. I am so happy. Her and her mother are like the sweetest people. So I am so happy that they're having this opportunity. She's about to be on television. Oh my God. Congratulations to her. And congratulations to the other girl too. When I do find out your name and all of the above, I'm happy that they get this opportunity. But oh my God, Tootie! I'm so happy. Tootie! Yes. Okay. I just had to get it out. I'm just so happy for her. I'm just so happy for her. So yes. Yeah, we're getting the debut of a new tag team on this week's episode of WoW, and I'm really excited about it. So, we're moving into our main event, which was, of course, the WoW Trios Trophy being on the line with Team Spirit versus Top Tier. And this was a really good match in the sense that there was so many skills on display between both teams that it was just like I just didn't know exactly who was gonna win. Because of course you have top tier, you have all the skills of Coach Campanelli and Gloria Glitter and Krush on display as well with their hard hitting acumen and stuff like that. But then you had Ariel Sky, who is of course out for vengeance and out for blood, showing and showcasing a lot of her gymnastics agility in this match, giving the entire top tier team a run for their money. Like I had never felt like I love Ariel Sky and had never felt so proud. Like I've been proud of her anyway, but just to see the way she was performing in this match, I was just like, yes, girl. Yes, girl. Let them know that you are a gymnast and you are not here to play games, okay? And that's exactly what she was doing. She was hitting backflips, crossing up people's arms, hitting drop kicks, as you can see, to Crush right there. She was kicking all kinds of butt. But then you also had Gloria Glitter, who was also trying to submit out Sasha Sparks right here. And it was just really great stuff on the part of all of these girls. Like this match was really, really good. I definitely recommend that you go back and watch it if you missed it. Like it was really good. But then sadly enough, top tier wound up winning after the other two members of Team Spirit were knocked off the apron and they wound up beating them and I was just like, God dang it. But I feel like this is far from over between these women. Like it is personal, it is a blood feud. I am definitely here for these women having multiple matches against each other because this match was so good. Like I just loved every inch of it. Like I need more from them. I love their gear. I love top tier's gear. Um, it shows a lot of their personalities while also being a uniform with the colors. Like it's really cute, but honestly, I just want Team Spirit to get their revenge. So, Kay, how did you feel about this match and the performance of Team Spirit up against Top Tier?
I thought it was a good match, and knowing Ariel Sky in person, I was super, super happy that we got to really see that. I felt like we saw a little bit, but this match, they really allowed her to show what I already know. And so I was like, yes, I was highly upset that they didn't win it. But to be fair, I felt like they should have won it because technically they were the team that made it to the finals in the first place. And so it should have been, I would have been perfectly fine with them winning it. But I do think that again, and this is like, we know what Crush can do, we know what Gloria can do, and so this is not even anything towards their skill. They are skilled. And when coach really want to put her mind into something, she'll do what she needs to do in that regard, wrestling wise. But I definitely thought they should have lost it. And it's unfortunate that even though the other girls tried hard, I feel like in this regard, Ariel is probably the one more, I guess, maybe more experience in this regard, especially dealing with coach and dealing with the other two. One being that of Crush, who, is a little bit more experienced, from her time previously and while in the last season when she got better and how again she kind of was the one introducing the new people to the audience to this season. And so I agree. I don't think it's over. I feel like that's too much now animosity between them. Um, and I'm perfectly fine with them also having a couple more matches in there. Like let's give it. But I do like that we really got to see the differences, but also what made them kind of stand out like separately, but as a group. And I can give that top tier gear was good. I can say that without like frowning that no, the gear was good. It was. But I'm definitely down for them to have another matchup or a few more matchups in the future.
Absolutely. It was really good. And I just feel like it's just not over because I feel like it's also deeper than them winning the trios trophy off of them. Like it's just deeper than that. Like she insulted the team that she created, tried to break them apart, attacked them, and left them behind for two other people, and benched them in this tournament and tried to, make it seem like they aren't as good as they are. Like it's definitely gonna keep going, and I just cannot wait to see more of what their feud is gonna have. Like it's just not over, and I'm pretty sure Coach is gonna try to move on and think that it's over with, but nah. Ariel Sky is definitely, and the other two are definitely gonna prove that they are not somebody that they could just walk all over. So I'm definitely here for it. The action here on WoW is really turning up a notch, and I just love that this is happening. At this rate. But that's the end of that episode. So thank you guys so much for watching, all 22 of you watching wherever you're watching from. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting Steph and Cat Talk WoW. Of course, if you have not watched WoW Superheroes, I definitely recommend that you do if you love women's wrestling. It's on for an hour and it comes on every weekend. So go on wowe.com and type in your zip code or what city or state you live in or whatever country or wherever you're living at and find out where it airs for you on television. It also comes on Pluto TV, so if you want to watch those episodes there, you can. And it also comes on Hulu, from what I heard, so you can watch those episodes there as well as watching it on their YouTube channel, which is Wow Superheroes. And please follow them on all of their social medias at Wow Superheroes, so you'll never miss anything that goes on with them. Because a lot of the stuff they post on social media does tie into what's going on in the episode. So please, check them out on their socials as well. And just continue to support women's wrestling as a whole, especially with this being a big wrestling weekend with all of the wrestling shows happening all at once. Stardom American Dream happened today. There's Super Card of Honor, which is taking place. And of course, you have WrestleMania popping off as well. So please support all forms of women's wrestling that you might see. Support the women's wrestlers. And also, if you see the women's wrestlers, respect them and their space, please. And also, if you see any content creators, respect them in their space, man or woman, because we are humans just like you, and we are not objects on a screen that you can just play with like toys. Let us be cool about it, but don't be disrespectful. Because if you try to run into me like that, you're gonna get kicked. But either way, let's just move on from that and just be good to each other is the point. This is a big weekend. We're all celebrating what we love in wrestling, and let's celebrate each other and respect each other's boundaries. Okay, okay. So Katrina, thank you so much for joining me, as you do every week, and tell everybody where they can find and follow you and what you've got going on.
Uh, You guys can follow me on In Cat We Trust, Threads, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram E3. Definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel In Cat We Trust. That's where all my stuff will be. I do have some new interviews coming up. I know I said this previously. It's just been extremely hectic and also a lot of stuff going on because life does life a lot. And it's been lifing a lot in the last month or so. And so, my apologies, but more stuff is coming. I will mostly be home WrestleMania weekend. However, I will be in Philly briefly tomorrow. So if you're like in the area where I might be, and I will probably post a little bit more on Twitter as far as where I will be, area I will be in. I will only be there for a day. So if you see me, say hi respectfully because she said she would kick you, but I'm probably 200 times worse. So so just be respectful, and be nice and be kind. But even to the wrestlers that are all coming to entertain, and I say this after seeing, you know, people with Bull Nakano in the airport just not respecting space, and I like that annoyed me to levels of she's a lot nicer again than I would have been. I would have just slapped those things to the floor. Like, don't do that. Like, I'm trying to get off the plane. Nobody's been on planes, and we know sometimes you're tired. It might have been a flight. It might have been delayed. Weather. So many things could have been going on, and y'all just throwing things people faces. So be respectful. I feel like I gotta say this, but be respectful. It's a lot of wrestling, a lot of cons, a lot of shows, a lot of people. Be kind, be respectful. But I do thank all of you guys for watching with us, and take no offense to anything I said, but I meant it. So we're clear. And as always, Steph, always a pleasure to host with you.
Absolutely, and I cannot wait to see you. It's gonna be great. So of course you can follow me, your girl Stephanie Hardy, on Instagram and Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy. Follow my show, The Hardy Wrestling Podcast, on Instagram at Hardy Wrestling Podcast and on Twitter at Hardy Wrestle Pod. I do have a new article out talking about why I think Mercedes Monet should take the Ring of Honor World Championship off of Athena. So please read that at Daily DDT along with my other things as well. And also, I'm here in Philadelphia all weekend. So I will be at Wale Mania tonight. So please, if you want to say hi, if you're at Wale Mania, please don't hesitate to say hi. But also, like I said earlier, respect my space and respect the space of the wrestlers who are there to have a good time and chill out and everything else like that. So, yeah, and just have fun because this is a great weekend to have fun. And then tomorrow I'll be out and about as well. I'll be at WWE World and I'm really excited about that. And I'll be at WrestleCon and I'll be somewhere else as well. So please, just I'll be out and about. So, if you see me, just say hi. And yeah, it's just a really good weekend to just celebrate all that we love in professional wrestling. So it's just really great to be here. And just being, in a new area, in a new spot. So, yeah, of course, this has been Steph and Cat Talk Wow, brought to you by the Hardy Wrestling Podcast and In Cat We Trust. And until next time, thank you for hanging in with us. Bye, y'all.